One Zambia, one nation. Welcome to Zanis News with me, Trasbemba. The headlines. Zambia, Tanzania sign 8 MOUs. Vet Department bans illegal movement of livestock from Sinazongwe. Over 200 farmers lose cassava crops. Strong winds blows off 22 house roofs and classroom block in Gwembe. The news in detail. Zambia and the United Republic of Tanzania have signed 8 memoranda of understanding in various sectors of the two countries' economies. The signed MOUs include cooperation in the fields of science, technology, innovation, military cooperation, medicine, promotion of trade and investment, and development of a natural gas export project through pipeline from Tanzania to Zambia. Speaking after witnessing the signing of the MOUs, President Hakainde Hichilema and his Tanzanian counterpart Samia Hassan observed the need to expeditiously implement the agreements for the mutual benefit of the people. Details in this report.
President Hakainde Hichilema's vision and goal for Zambia is nothing short of economic emancipation. This is why the Zambian head of state has continued to seek collaborations with other global leaders in his quest to attracting investment in Zambia. Today, Zambia and the United Republic of Tanzania have signed 8 memoranda of understanding in various sectors of the two countries' economies, witnessed by President Hakainde Hichilema and his counterpart, President Samia Hassan.
MOUs we've signed today must not be a ceremony, an exercise that governments like doing, but one that leads to action to consolidate the gains that have been made before our time, but to consolidate these, to deepen them, to grow our economies, to create opportunities for young people in our countries, our youthful populations, education, investment in education will come from these engagements.
My brother and I had an opportunity to discuss and share insights on a range of issues of mutual interest, being both bilateral, regional, and international. During our discussion, we noted with satisfaction the deliberate efforts undertaken by our two governments to strengthen the long-standing and excellent relation between our two countries, Tanzania and Zambia. And in that regard, we reaffirm our personal commitment and that of our two governments to ensure that we continue cherishing and enhancing the existing bonds of friendship and partnership built on a solid foundation led by our founding fathers.
The signed MOUs include cooperation on science, technology and innovation, exchange program for Students Command and Staff College, exchange program for directing staff of Command and Staff College, an agreement on exchange program for officer cadets, an agreement in the field of medical services under the Ministries of Defense of the two countries. Other signed MOUs include the promotion of trade between Zambia and Tanzania, an agreement on the promotion of investment between Zambia and Tanzania, and an agreement relating to the cooperation and the development of a natural gas export project through pipeline from Tanzania to Zambia.
We have made some offers to Tanzania, United Republic, Tanzania, to work together in the agricultural sector. There's no reason that any one of our citizens' households should go to bed without food in the two countries as endowed as us with natural resources.
President Hassan has since concluded her official state visit to Zambia. Kalan Uchima reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Tanzanian President Samia Hassan has expressed concern over the poor performance of the Tanzania-Zambia Railway Authority Tazara. Addressing the National Assembly of Zambia, President Hassan says there is need to find a lasting solution to enable the railway company improve its operations. Dr. Hassan, however, expressed happiness over the increased trade volume between Zambia and our country. Details in this report by Jonathan Mukuka.
Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has expressed great concern over the poor performance of the jointly owned Tanzania-Zambia Rail Authority, Tazara. In her address in Parliament, President Hassan, who was in Zambia on a 3-day state visit, said Tazara needs support to enable it to improve its operations.
The historic Tazara Railway can bring tremendous prosperity if utilized fully. When fully operational, Tazara can get 5 billion metric tons of cargo. However, last year records indicate that the railway only used 4% of its capacity to carry 210,000 metric tons. Our two governments are aware of the importance of Tazara to our economies. Joint efforts will be required to resolve the challenges Tazara faces. Joint initiatives will also be needed to facilitate leasing and mobilization of resources for innovations. The same holds for Tanzania-Zambia Mafuta pipeline, Tazama. Expanding Tazama pipeline is key for Zambia's energy security, and we commit to doing so jointly.
Dr. Hassan, however, expressed happiness over the increased trade volumes between our country and Zambia.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the volume of trade between Tanzania and Zambia and goods from Dar es Salaam transiting Zambia is increasing considerably, given the potential for further trade growth between our countries. We made deliberate efforts to increase efficiency at the Dar es Salaam port.
President Hassan is calling for more support in order to boost the economies of the two countries.
Honorable members of this assembly, I call upon you to transmit my message of solidarity to the brotherly people of Zambia and our rally to them saying Tiende Pamoja. Yeah. I call on you to transmit my invitation to Zambians to trade with Tanzania and to give them this message of the transformations underway in Tanzania to ease movements of further facilitate trade.
President Hassan has since left for Tanzania after a successful visit to Zambia, where she also graced Zambia's 59th independence anniversary. Jonathan reporting for Zanis News at Parliament Building in Lusaka.
Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Elijah Mchima has warned against the illegal allocation of land at Sakanya border post between Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, on the Copper Belt. Dr. Mchima said this when he toured the border post following reports that some residents are allocating themselves land. More in this report.
Illegal allocation of land has continued to be a serious problem on the Copper Belt, as from residential plots, it has now moved to border areas. At Sakanya border post with the Democratic Republic of Congo, some local residents have started sharing this land, which is supposed to be for the development of the border post. Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Minister Elijah Mchima, who toured the borderland, wants this illegality to be curtailed immediately to avoid the same problem happening at Kasumbalesa border post.
The thing is, this encroachment, this cadalism which we are hearing about should not be encouraged. We are working with the council and my surveyor general. They have to be on the spot. The PS is here. We need to be on the ground quickly to avoid what is happening in Kasumbalesa. We need to control it. We plan it so that it becomes a planned area. You know, revenues are critical to this country. We need revenues for the services in this country.
The minister was accompanied by the Lands and Natural Resources Permanent Secretary, however, assured that this damaged beacon demarcating the boundary between Democratic Republic of Congo and Zambia will be addressed by the two countries.
Time has come that we need to be here quickly. And you have seen the traffic, it's quite heavy. We need to plan it now. The government presence will be here. And also border affirmation. There will be a meeting in Congo in November. We need to see if at all we can come quickly so that we reaffirm our border. You know, it's a bilateral arrangement. We cannot break that one. We have to follow procedures. And we have talked to our friends, very, very friendly.
We ably advise that matters concerning beaconing need to involve both countries. It's not something we can do on our own. So we have received advice, and that's the official position from Ministry of Lands. Unfortunately, that beacon should stay as is until we contact our colleagues in DRC so that we do it jointly. We don't want it to be misunderstood.
Ndola City Council Town Clerk has promised that officers will move in to ensure that the borderland is protected from encroachment.
We take the directive of the minister. The presence of the council here is very much needed and urgently so. And also the directive to stop any of the irregularities that we've seen, trenches, whoever is doing this has to stop, and we'll be here on Monday with the health inspectors, building inspectors to come and bury these foundations. We will also be engaging the community through the area councillor so that we can resolve the issue of the club ownership as well as the boundary for government infrastructure here vis-a-vis the people that are claiming to have title.
Sakanya border post is among the areas government has approved for development through the public-private partnership so that it is developed just as it is here on the side of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Tovini Ngombe, Zanis, Ndola.
Now, the veterinary department in Southern Province has warned against illegal movement of livestock from Sinazongwa district to prevent the further spread of anthrax disease. Choma District Senior Veterinary Officer Jericho Sakwanda says the department, together with various law enforcement agencies, will not hesitate to destroy any livestock that will be found moving from the district. Mr. Sakwanda was speaking in Choma when the department destroyed 17 illegally transported goats worth 10,000 kwacha. Over 200 farmers in Kayonge area of Kalumbila district in northwestern province are likely to face a food crisis as their cassava crop are rotting. Kalumbila District's Commissioner Brenda Sakisa visited the area to assess the situation. Here are the details.
Cassava is one of the staple foods in most rural households in Kalumbila District of northwestern province. But the increased and continued rotting of the cassava crop is threatening food security in Kayonge area, affecting about 200 households. The community shares their concerns.
So government cassava tube started rotting 2 years ago. It started slightly. This year, this when it has now all the fields are affected.
Those in authority are on the ground to assess the situation.
We've had some of the tubers that are not yet attacked or that are not yet rotten, but of course some of them like this, you can see to say they're not going anywhere because they're already affected. They can't even grow bigger than what they are right now. Farmers shouldn't transmit the disease from one field to the other by using the same cuttings, because once this cutting is affected and is taken into another field, it's the same as saying you're transmitting the disease from one field to the other.
As government, we are concerned because a lot of people are actually affected. And the number of hectareage, actually we've been to almost 5 fields and it's the same situation. So I feel it's necessary as government that we come in to help the people so that there's no starvation among our people.
Shelika Chabalingula, Zanis, Kalumbila, Northwestern Province.
In health news, Muchinga province is said to undertake the 4th round of polio vaccination campaign targeting children below 6 years. Provincial Health Director David Silweya says the exercise will kick-start tomorrow, Thursday, October 26, 2023 in Pika District. Dr. Silweya is optimistic that the region will perform well during the vaccination exercise. We move to Lusaka Province. Lusaka District Health Director Strida Maseka is calling on stakeholders in the district to collaborate with government in dealing with diseases such as tuberculosis, malaria, HIV and AIDS, and COVID-19. Dr. Maseka says the district has not performed well with regards to some interventions, especially on tuberculosis, because of the perceived stigma attached to the disease. Still in health news, Chief Macha of Southern Province has called for a strong legal framework to punish individuals resisting to build toilets at their homes. Chief Macha said people are dying of preventable diseases such as cholera, hence the need to orient traditional leaders on the sanitation legal framework to effectively promote hygiene in chiefdoms across the country. Here is a report.
Government has for a long time spent huge sums of money in combating diarrhea diseases associated with poor sanitation, as most households, especially in rural communities, have no latrines. Chief Macha of Choma District has been championing community-led sanitation concept in his chiefdom and is now calling for a strong legal framework to penalize individuals resisting to build toilets.
Why don't we come up with a law to punish anybody who does not want to put up a toilet? Surely there must be a piece of law to punish anybody who resists. The government must come to help. Take the headman, take the chief for orientation on the basic law about how to do these things. Because enough is enough. People are dying. We don't even know why they are dying.
Stakeholders are determined to ensure universal access to private household latrines. Flat households in Macha Chiefdom have embraced.
Abamarwa za CNN pona bamwe bantu bagita kuti muri kuno kumiziko tukala balako yataba kwezimbuzi baonka mu masokwe babukala kwa yabu kalira mumu pona tipoti izihuwa babwa nkuku yakulia madotari amakulia madota ya holia monya molida pona ababulwasi Chief Match nabagabona kuti nayagatoyetera mbotu kama waburondo bagandita then bawulipa gaga kaneze gakubereshaka.
Throughout our tour and monitoring and sensitization and verification, Your Highness, we didn't find one case. We didn't find one case of resistance. What are you doing here? What? No, this is a plus. We are pushing an open door. People already are in this. This is very surprising, and you have to be hygienic all around.
Macha Chiefdom has been selected to host the National World Toilet Day started for November 17 to be combined with the Chiefdom Sustainable Open Defecation Free celebrations.
We have 16 countries that have been invited as international delegates, and these are countries where we have also done community-led total sanitation, which includes 21 countries in Africa and countries outside Africa. So it will be a very, very big celebration where we are expecting at least 3,000 total attendance. We are hoping that all the other chiefdoms, the 288, can actually follow his example. Already we have 55 that were declared open defecation free by 2018, except that they have fallen a little bit.
Zanis, in Yoma, Southern Province.
Vice President Mutalena Lumango has described the late former Minister of Finance, Ngandu Magande, as a humble leader who was committed to finding solutions for the economic development of Zambia. Mrs. Nalumango, who visited the funeral house, said the death of Mr. Magande is a great loss to the nation. She said his legacy will go down the lane of history for his efforts to ensure that Zambia attains the highly indebted poor country's completion during his time in office. More in this report.
Government says it will remember the late former Minister Ngando Peter Magande for his dedication and commitment to national service. Speaking during her visit at the funeral house in Chilanga, Republican Vice President Mutalina Lumango said Mr. Magande dedicated his life to look for solutions for Zambia's economic development.
Committed to service, not just committed to service, but he put in everything that he could, every day that we worked together. He was a man that looked for solutions for the Zambian people. And that's why the policies that were put in place during his time were well received. And we should also agree that to a point they did bear fruit. Mr. Hipik brought, worked and ensured that Zambia reached the HIPIC completion point because of the commitment.
Ms. Nalumango has urged those who aspire for public service to emulate the heart of the late Magande.
So he's a man that we all need to remember. Those that want, that aspire for public service should have a heart like Magande had. He was capable.
A family representative has expressed gratitude for the support received from the government and members of the public during this trying moment.
Honorable Magande was the pillar for the clan. He was a man we all relied on. If you look at the people that are around here, they are all close relatives. Other than that, we have a lot of other people that have come.
Ngando Peter Magande, an economist, served as Minister of Finance and National Planning for the Republic of Zambia from 2003 to 2008 in the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD. Tariso Sibanda, reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
Minister of Technology and Science Felix Mutati has called on stakeholders to invest in the information communication technology IC sector to contribute economic growth. Mr. Mutati says ICT aim to accelerate the development of Zambia's digital economy. We move to education news. Strong winds have blown off 22 house roofs and a 1x2 classroom block at Antuba Primary School in Katota and Kolewards in Gwembe districts. Gwembe District Commissioner Kilion Chikadula says the classroom block was being used by grade 7 pupils who are expected to start writing the examinations next week, adding that immediate measures are being put in place to ensure the learners are not affected. Mr. Chikadula says the District Disaster Management and Mitigation Committee has already visited the affected areas for assessment. More in this report.
A 1x2 classroom block and about 22 community houses have their roofs blown off by a huge storm experienced in Kotakota and Kolewards of Gwembe District. The development has left 22 families without shelter, with the classroom block meant for grade 7 examinations run down a week to the start of the final examinations. Gwembe District Commissioner Kilion Chikadula confirmed the development and calls for a quick response, especially on the classroom block, so that learners are able to write the examinations next week.
Kotakota and the Kole experienced a heavy storm where most of the houses were destroyed. We sent a team comprising of the DMM committee members who had gone there just to assess the situation. So total number of houses that were affected are 22 altogether, although they are scattered in these communities. Now, apart from that, we had a school that was blown off. That's 1x2 classroom block at Amatuba. So the impact for this classroom block is that it was used by grade 7 class who are supposed to start writing their exam after next week. So I'm sure on this one we need to take a quick action so that these pupils are able to write their final exam.
A team from the District Disaster Management and Mitigation Committee took a rapid assessment on the damaged infrastructure.
Matura primary school was blown off because of the rains that were there and the winds. So the school and some houses were affected. So we came here as a DMMU and some DMMU Disaster Management Committee members to come and assess the extent of the damage as well as to check on the houses that were affected.
Meanwhile, Kota Ward Councillor Edward Gama has called on government to give aid to the school and affected families using the 5% disaster management component under the Constituency Development Fund, CDA.
Government through the Office of DMM to please, if there's that component in the CDF part, it is 5% yeah, disaster, please, we're asking the government to think about why more especially with that 1x2 classroom block.
Brian Kapuka reporting in Gombe District, Southern Province.
In Northern Province, a team from the Public Service Microfinance Company is in Kasama and Bala district to sensitize Zambia Air Force ZAF officers on the various loan products to encourage agriculture entrepreneurship. Details in this report.
The Public Service Microfinance Company has continued its tour of Zambia Air Force bases in the country to sensitize officers on the Agriculture Asset Plus loans. The team is in Northern Province where it has engaged officers in Kasama and Dimbala. Public Service Microfinance Company Chief Information Officer has encouraged the military officers to acquire the agriculture loans as Northern Province has a good rainfall pattern and vast land for agriculture and poultry farming.
At the recently held agricultural show, where he opened the event, he announced that there was need for government to set up a fund, a facility that would allow for civil servants and also the men and women in uniform to participate in agriculture, to have access to funding that will be extended at below market price. And we have achieved that vision. We have since relaunched our Agricultural Asset Plus loan by first doing one thing, and that is to reduce our interest rates by essentially 50% to now 9% per annum. So our rates on the agricultural asset loan are at 9% per annum. And we have also extended our repayment period to 7 years. This is all in a bid to ensure acceptability as well as access to the product by a lot of us, a lot of you, men and women in uniform.
Company Chief Executive Officer Mubanga Mwiko has disclosed that the government has released part of the 300 million kwacha set aside for public service workers who do not have access to the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP to acquire loans at reduced interest rates of 9%.
Service Microfinance Company, we're parastatal, state-owned by the Ministry of Finance. The Minister holds shares on behalf of government and the people of Zambia. So it's basically your company. I'll put this way, it's your company as well, because you're taxpayers and you own the company in a way.
President Hakainde Hichilema has on many occasions called on citizens to invest in the agriculture sector so that it becomes a major driver of the economy. Audrey Kalenga, Zanis News, Mbala, Northern Province.
The United Church of Zambia UCZ Minister in charge Douglas Siniza at Luwa Mission in Chinsali District is appealing to government to consider revamping Luwa Mission Resource Center. Reverend Siniza says First Republican President Kenneth Kaunda laid a foundation stone in 2005 but has remained idle. Details by Enu Rumpa.
This is the Luwa Mission Resource Center located in Chinsali, which is the birthplace of the first late Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. However, this center, which was meant to provide skills to residents in the area, has never been used for its intended purpose due to lack of financial support. The foundation for this structure was laid by Dr. Kaunda and witnessed by President Hakainde Hichilema when he was brought chairperson for Barclays Bank, now ABSA, in 2005. In this regard, a clergyman based at Luwa Mission has since called on government to revamp the facility.
A lot of things to be done. We need his support. We need the support of the government, more especially for the president, just to come in and assist us, just to come in and revamp the rural resource center. It can be done. It is something which is attainable 100%. It is something which can be done within just a short period of time. We can put in resources, and this thing, the students can be coming just, they finish school at the rural secondary school, they start acquiring a skill just right here at Ruba.
Reverend Singiza also stated the positive impact that the Constituency Development Fund CDF would have on the center.
Through CDF, this can help. If CDF, we can pumping a lot of money, the money which is there, they said, okay, let's go back to Ruba. The intended purpose for Ruba Resource Center to be revamped so that youths in Chinsari, they don't go out of Chinsari to be trained.
The revamping of this facility will indeed help youths in this area acquire various skills without covering long distances to the Chinsali Central Business District. Henry Lompa Jr., Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
The Litunga Lubosi Imwiko II of the Balose Loyal Establishment has pledged to support the church in order to bring meaningful development in Western Province. Speaking through his Ngambela Mukela Manyando at the just-ended United Church of Zambia, UCZ Batoyo Centenary commemorations, the Litunga said the teachings from the church have reduced criminal activities in the province. More in this report by Darlington Kabambe.
The Barroso establishment has commended the United Church of Zambia, UCZ, for spreading the word of God and promoting peace since its inception in Western Province. Officiating at the closing celebration of the 100 years existence of the Butoya UCZ conference through his Prime Minister Mukela Manyando, His Majesty Litunga said the teachings from the church has reduced crime activities in the region.
Kumina bakereye muzire kuli mulonga wa bulozi ulumerana akulu nikusebenzana akulu mana nikususuweza akulu lindwi la mngakupiro kuli likene liyanduke lihasane mana kakuli misero yate yeminde ifelisa kubangoki ifelisa kukelenga ifelisa lutimbo nikumasiru papana bobubona halamu chalo.
And Synod Bishop Right Reverend Sidin Chilima has called on the UCZ members to respect the traditional leadership in Western Province.
UCZ cannot exist in this land to this day, 100 years. So, members of the UCZ, our mothers, Bashemi, wherever you are, members of the UCZ, we need to thank His Majesty, the Barose Royal Establishment, for the wisdom, the guidance and partnership to support the mission of the church in this land. So our prayer is that Bishop will continue the partnership and to show our courtesy, our loyalty, our support and our respect to such officers, because we know that every leadership has been established by God Himself. We have His Majesty. It is by the divine appointment of Him who is above, King Jehovah.
Meanwhile, one of the congregants at the Butoya conference had this to say.
I'm here in Butoya Plains celebrating the 100 years. This is what we call centenary of Butoya, because the first plane that brought the first missionaries landed here in 1923, and today is 2023. Therefore, it marks 100 years. That's why we are all gathered here. From different walks of life, we have people coming from Lusaka, Livingstone, Sesheke, Kalabo, Lukulu. Everyone from Western Province is present here.
Darlington Kawambe reporting in Mwango District, Western Province.
Now, government will soon commence the renovation of Chibolia Old People's Home in Mufulira district under the Constituents Development Fund, CDF. Mufulira Mayor Tanaheli Kamanga disclosed that phase 1 of the project has already been approved and will involve renovation of the water reticulation system to secure running water at the home. And now in sports news, Eastern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Beauty Piri says there is hidden talent in rural areas in terms of sports due to lack of exposure. Ms. Piri was speaking when she graced the Mboza Ward Independence Tournament. Various teams walked away with different prizes ranging from soccer jersey, footballs and monetary prizes amounting to over 15,000 kwacha. Join us for more in this report.
Eastern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Beauty Piri organized an independence tournament in Mboza Ward of Kasenengwa district. The tournament was intended to keep young people busy and away from alcohol and substance abuse, which have the potential to retard national development. Ms. Piri, who was also celebrating her 41st birthday on the same day, urged young people to remain disciplined if they are to excel in their sporting careers.
MOUs also tolera kuti bola lombai inkale monga ni andali mwamakine mchokepo mkashiteko na play pa national team chutufuna ni bantu ochoka ku Eastern Province wote yako nao pa national team mati fashion sakana ichoka kuno tikamvako naye myakine ochoka kuno kumboza kuti wote yako pa national team olo timu ikula ne yamchipata tyala.
The development excited the locals.
Ifuna tyala atipangira kuti tiwere pamozi titsiyeko vira vati mwazo zoti katembuzi yavene so bora chakonga itachako time pa time yato zoti tikatembuzi basi tachenjekwa nakuno basi veneka zavalira ni win na lose ndipo olunza achilandire aliyese mbali zose zose.
In football, Blue Bombers Football Club were crowned champions after beating Kachingo United by a goal-to-nil in netball. Kalawa netball team emerged winners after beating Bombers netball team. Mutinta Mwemba reporting for Zanis in Kasenengwa district, Eastern Province.
As we end the news, we take another look at the stories that made headlines. Zambia, Tanzania signed 8 MOUs. Vet Department bans illegal movement of livestock from Sinazongwe. Over 200 farmers lose cassava crops. Strong winds blows off 22 house roofs and classroom block in Gwembe. Well, that's all we had for you from our news desk. On behalf of Zanis' entire production team, I've been your presenter, Trust Bemba. For now, it's goodbye.